You can play with a wooden stick today in the field game in the United States or the field game, the national game in Canada. But it's a little bit heavier, a little bit harder to handle, and subject to cracking and breaking. So you'll very rarely see a wooden stick. If a kid today could handle a good hickory stick and play the American field game, he'd be a scourge because it hurts so bad when he checked it. I tested it. I never played with plastic. I always played with wood. And it's interesting. This is called the helix. All the plastic sticks have a name. This is the newest one. We've gotten to the point where it's gotten so sophisticated, like this stick. When you get the ball in there and you get a big athlete like Jim, you can't get the ball away from him. As a result, our game got a little rough because we have to do rough when we get them to spit it up. So we've gone back to the drawing board and we've gone back to the early native stick and said, you know, we can't have it pinched and narrow and too deep because the game is getting violent and it's Victorian gentleman's game, actually. So this is the newest. So this is called the Professor. And it must be 3 inches across, it must be 3 inches high, and then it can be 6 inches at the top. And if you go to a lacrosse game, you see those zebras out there. They can randomly check sticks with a ruler to make sure it's 40 inches long or 72 inches long, and that this is 6 inches, in high school 6.5, and then they measure in here. If the kid goes wading through everybody, gets knocked down, he gets up, he still has the ball, he goes in and fakes, he scores. The first thing that official will do is go over, measure. Is it 3 inches? 3 inches up? Is it 6 across? And is it 40 inches long? So we put rules in the game, you know. You can't hurt anybody. You're not supposed to hurt anybody. You can't take a running start at anybody. It's not like the game that came out of the woods, that the Mohawks brought out of the woods, and we very rudely call it a savage game. It's a gentleman's game, and I'd like to think of something. You can buy the Professor or any other number. There's probably 20 or 30 different heads on the market. They're not made for one position. You can play attack or midfield or defense with this head. That's another thing that's improved the game. So we pump these things out of a mold. It probably costs a couple of dollars. This head, as you see it right here, is $50 for the head alone. The handle's $100 and some dollars. It's still cheaper than a ball glove. Then you buy a package with a stringy, and you can add to that and subtract from that. And these boys, they're amazing. It's like they can't tie their shoes, but they can string this thing. I can remember when I was on my dad's team, we all had the old Native American stick with a gut. It's like what you buy at the hardware store for your dog. On the sidewall, we had leather, which dogs also love, it's skin. And we were going to Dartmouth as a team, and we put all our sticks in the baggage car and a train, and that's how we were going up to Pullman. And we got to Dartmouth, up Hanover, New Hampshire, and we opened the baggage car, and the rats had eaten all the innards out of all our sticks. I can vividly remember playing catch in my front yard with a few of my neighbors that wanted to play with me, because everybody played baseball. And I can remember my mother calling me in from bed. And I put my stick down, and I did what she told me to do. I went home and I went to bed. And I come down the next morning as the sun came up, to go out and get my stick, and all the netting would be gone. In the evening, somebody ate all the innards out. So you can see how the game has progressed. The love of the stick, I still love it with the stick. But a year ago, I took one of Alfie's beautiful wooden sticks, and I went out to the Syracuse University to practice. That's normally what I don't do. I don't go to practice. I did this day, I was curious, and I brought that beautiful stick right there, Alfie's stick. And I walked out, and we have 50 kids playing with us at practice time. And I stood there as they practiced, and they came up the sideline to get water, take a time out or whatever they did, and I stood there with that wooden stick, and that one kid asked me what it was, who made it, who played with it, or could they touch it? They walked right by. So that's all happened here in the last 100 years. But we should never forget its origins and where it came from and who invented it.
I'll tell you, don't bring that Tupperware to a medicine game.
Back in the day, they used to call them, they were like disposable diapers. Oren, you brought up an interesting point. I know, and Jim knows, Professor knows. Tell us about a medicine game.
Well, the whole purpose of the medicine game, the reason why it began, actually, was to play for the welfare of an individual, an Onondaga, any one of the people who lived there can call for a game. And once they do, then the whole nation kind of goes into gear, because first of all, somebody has to go and tell the players, game coming, get your stick, and that means one of these. Can't play that, because there's instruction that goes with this. Because this begins with a tree. This is a tree, and all the trees. And so the sides are picked by the clans, longhouse, or mudhouse, and the two. Or they can pick it by age. And the old guys against the young guys, they always like that one. And we will play it for an individual, or it can be played as we do the first game. The first medicine game in the spring is always played for the players. Anybody who's going to pick up a stick. We're playing this game because you can get hurt in this game. But in the medicine game, then once it begins, then it's a feast. It's medicine, so everything has to be done the same day, and the ball has to be made the same day. And actually, the ball is the medicine of the stick. But the stick is the instructor, and what goes with it, and the gut, and the deer. They're all in this. They're all together on here to help you. And so that whole discussion goes on, instruction goes on to the players, and prayers are made and so forth. Remember what I told you about the first time that game was played. And so that whole discussion goes on, and then back to the old style, which is two posts, and the ball is thrown up in the middle, and the game is on. And the game is usually played to an odd number, 3 or 5. And some of those 3-goal games can go on for 3 or 4 hours. It's played full-tailed, and all ages play. You see some old guy, where's Herb there? I remember Herb was out there not long ago, you know, and Herb and I are about the same age. And he scored. He got the ball, he knew where he always could score. He always could score to get him the ball, he knew where he was. And sure enough, there he was. He had to be 78 at that time, I think. Is that right, Herb? Somewhere around there. Anyway, all ages. They can't let them get too small because you get run over in there. As you said, it gets pretty rough, but you know, the rules are simple. Play fair.